G'day and welcome to everyone listening today. It is the 11th episode of the Sporting Fix. And as you're all aware, we always like to dissect sport, and that's exactly what we'll be doing today. And a little bit of a preview before we get started is we'll be talking about the WBBL, more just to, make sure the episode goes on for a bit. So the WBBL is quite entertaining, so we'll have a listen to that. The World Cup, obviously, it's not stopping anytime soon. We'll be dissecting that, a bit of footy trades. And excitingly, we have a little guest on briefly. Not a lot of time he has at the moment, so we'll be trying to, I'll fire out these questions and see what he can deliver on the big stage. Let's get it all started. So the WBBL, should we start with that or should we start with the World Cup? Well, I don't really know. I guess we'll start with the World Cup because it's Australia. So it's Australia playing. They're involved. Let's start with the international tournament. So we forget about the matches. I'm going to start with Australia and then work our way down and continue on with the World Cup. But when we versed Sri Lanka, obviously the end result spoke for itself, winning by 62 runs. But Australia, right, their opening innings was absolutely beautiful. It was so good. So the opening partnership between Marsh and Warner was absolutely beautiful. It was majestic to see. Both of them were striking over 100. They both scored over 100. But it sort of started off with Marsh, his second ball faced straight down the ground for 6. That sort of is what built a foundation, a platform to build an innings. He's such an attacking player. He hasn't hit his best form in recent times, but it was about that shot where you knew he was on, and both of them were on. We'll focus on Marsh first. He was hitting them with destruction. He was smashing him so hard. It was only a couple of seconds, and then it hits the rope. So it's pure strength. It's pure timing. It's short and wide, and he slashes it, and it's good night to the bowlers, really. I was nervous at the start because David Warner was on 10. He just gave his wicket away, but he got dropped. It was in the 4th over he got dropped. A terrible, terrible mishap. The dangers and destruction Warner can cause when he does get a second chance. And he showed every bit of that and more when he got dropped. Just as Marsh was doing straight down and into the rope and scoring runs, Warner and Marsh, he just rubbed salt into the wounds after the drop, slashing one through point, and everything just worked in the Aussies' favour for the first 30-odd overs. Harris Ralph comes in and Warner carts him through point, and then the next ball sends one onto the damn roof for 6. So there's a lot of things happening when Ralph came in. I think he coughed up about 24 runs in the first over. So it's a confidence thing that Ralph had. So the first over is massive in terms of a bowling perspective, because if you do get carted, then all of a sudden the pressure's on you, and it all depends whether you can handle pressure. Ralph couldn't in that situation, and therefore made more mistakes, which just led into the Aussies' favour at the end of the day. So yeah, his first over went for 24. And it was almost as was there any danger of Ralph not conceding a boundary? It was just boundary after boundary after boundary, and they just couldn't contain Australia, the Pakistanis. They were, the Aussie openers, they were, at the end of the day, they were putting Pakistan, they were putting him onto the canvas, really, at the end of the day. It was a T20 show from both players. Genuine, pure, natural strikes of the cricket ball just being sent left, right and centre 13 rows back. It was good to see as an Aussie perspective. You just couldn't describe how catastrophic they were as an opening pair. You go back to the Warner drop. He was on 10. He then makes a 50. He then turns that into a century. I do want to spend a lot of time in the opening pair and what they produced, because it's record breaking. There was a lot of records broke. Warner 163 off 124. So to be out there for that long, to strike at 131 is magical. Mitch Marsh, 121 off 108, and he was stiff to get out the way he did, just to heave down the leg side, picked out the man at short fine leg, but then it was sort of a choke. Like Australia, they were so lucky that their opening pair put on 259. Because from then, Australia just capitulated, whatever the word is. Because Glenn Maxwell comes in. They call that stadium where they played at his home. But I feel like he acted as if it was, one of his worst places to play at. He got a golden duck. Steve Smith, 7. Inglis, 13. Stoinis, 21. Marnus Labuschagne, 8. From then on, it was genuinely Australia, 259 for none, and then they get all out for 363. So is it concerning in an Aussie perspective? It is. Because, they get off to that good of a start. You have to go on. You have to make beyond 400. And then for them to only get 367 from the position that they were in, you almost think in a Pakistan perspective, they're a chance. They're a chance to defend. To really put themselves in a perfect position to win the game. But thank goodness for Australia. Thank goodness for Stoinis and Zampa, who came up clutch to kill Pakistan at the end of the day, because there were nervous Aussies watching on, when they were 3 for 232. You're thinking, okay, they're a damn chance, Pakistan, to get the cookies at the end of the day. But Zampa, 4 wickets again. Stoinis a couple, Cummins a couple. And Australia, they win by 62 runs, and they find themselves in the top 4, which is exactly where they want to be at this point in time. And you look, Travis Head's coming back. It's pretty good. It's pretty good because he can just add that extra dynamic X factor that he does bring, and that'll happen on the 25th of October on the Wednesday, which is obviously today. And you'd expect them to win that game after what they've produced previously, and obviously the Netherlands, they are not even close in terms of quality and skill and players that they have compared to Australia. So I'd be surprised and very disappointed if Australia do lose. But since that Pakistan-Australia game, there's been a few good games occurred. South Africa and England. South Africa wins by 229 and just put England's campaign on life support. I'll tell you what, England are that they are in dire straits at the moment. They are 6 feet under. I feel like they're already dead at the moment. Their campaign, you need a defib to get them alive, because I tell you what, they are in absolute shambles. You look at the standings and England are last. So if you think they're any chance of making the top 4 after 4 or 5 games roughly, I feel like you're daydreaming. I'll tell you what, if England make the top 4, they're doing pretty damn well, and that would be one of the best comebacks in history, because they got rolled for 170, and then they conceded 399 runs. I mean, South Africa, they're playing very good cricket, but England are playing terrible cricket. Absolutely terrible cricket. But as I say all the time, England, when they play bad cricket, it's very good. It's good to see. I mean, England, they are as rusty as a tetanus fence, and it has to be said, because they're as bad as probably their whole team has ever been. They've performed as bad as ever. Johnny Bear. So none of them have performed well. So none of them are in form. They're rusty. They're not good to watch, and they're in genuine I don't know what they are. They're not in good shape. They're in a genuine hole, and they're not going to get out. It's as simple as that. I can't imagine them getting out. Sri Lanka won by 5 wickets against the Netherlands. India and New Zealand. I was watching this game. It was a bloody good game. It was a terrible start for New Zealand. They were 2 for 19. And I turned the TV on to see Daryl Mitchell and Ravindra absolutely put the Indians to bed. before the wicket comes, and then all of a sudden New Zealand choke, which is unfortunate in terms of, well, for their perspective at least. Mohamed Shami, 5 wickets. The bloke's a veteran. He's 33 years of age and he's still going pretty damn strong. Virat Kohli, 95. No surprise there. He does it week in, week out. So New Zealand lose. India win by 4 wickets. And then we look at the standings currently, and it's India, 5 matches played, 5 wins. New Zealand, 5 matches played, 4 wins. So it's India, New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. So they're the 4 teams that are in the box seat to go all the way and to the finals and beyond. And out of those 4 teams, you'd expect it obviously to be India that are the more dominant side. Although South Africa, their net run rate is the highest out of the whole 10 teams, and they're sitting 3rd. So, upsets happen all the time in sport, and hopefully there'll be a couple more to see in the future. Obviously, South Africa and Bangladesh playing currently, or playing very, very soon at least. We'll see how that goes. I'd expect South Africa to roll Bangladesh. And then, Australia, Netherlands. So there's a bit going on in the ODI World Cup, as there always is. When you've got games being played left, right and centre, you'd expect that to happen. So that's what's going on in the world of World Cup cricket and the ODI. So we'll move away from that. Australia doing all right, sitting 4th. That's all you need to know. They're doing pretty well. They're in a good position. They're potentially in the box seat to make the semis with Netherlands, Bangladesh, and they've played a few hard teams to start off with. So they're in a good position currently. I think all Aussies will be happy with what's going on currently. We go to the WBBL. Now, we're not going to go through every game. We're just going to go through the main ones that stood out to me personally and see how that works out. So the first match was an absolute ripper. It was Melbourne Stars and Sydney Sixers, and the Stars won by 2 runs. Meg Lanning is a genuine freak. She's uncontrollable. 161 strike rate, 55 runs. That was all that really happened in the Stars innings. Not a lot to take out from there. And then in the Sixers innings, it was Gardner. 163 strike rate with 72. But Annabelle Sutherland, 4 wickets in 27. So 4 for 27. So the Stars, they hang on for a thrilling win. And it was led by Annabelle Sutherland. So good on her. But then, in reply, the Stars, the next game after, they get rolled for 29. That is as bad as the Newcombe innings bloody down the road in the BPCA cricket. It's just so bad to see in terms of a Stars perspective. The highest score was 9. I mean, that just shows exactly what happened in that innings. A picture tells 1,000 words, and if you look at that scoreboard, it tells more than 1,000 words. It tells that the Stars should be out of the damn competition. Katie Mack, 86 off 50, it has to be said. She was absolutely unbelievable. 3 wickets for Sophie Day was the only positive to take out of the Stars bowling innings, and that's about it. They lost by 148 runs, which is a record, as you'd expect. And now I want to go to the match where I think all the highlights have been held. So it was Brisbane Heat and the Perth Scorchers, and Grace Harris, 136 not out of 59 balls. Not to mention, she hit a 6 with a broken bat, and she knew it was broken. And as soon as the cricket ball hit the timber, her bat just went bang. It just split in 2, and somehow she got it over the rope. It was a fabulous innings, as the highest score in WBBL history, so that has to be said as well. So the WBBL, it is an entertaining game. Phoebe Litchfield's on fire. Grace Harris is on fire. Everyone's doing pretty well. And there's a lot more to, like from it. It gets better every year, and I'll be excited to, look at a few more entertaining matches to come in the future as well. So we move away from cricket. We move to the football. And I'm going to discuss these trades, and then I'm going to get a bloke that knows about his club more than anyone else does. He's a passionate Essendon supporter. He's been, in the doldrums, down in the doldrums for so long. We know the stats associated with the Dons and how they haven't actually won a final for about a generation. It's been an absolute long decade. So we'll get him in after the AFL trades, after I discuss them, and we'll see his thoughts on it as well. So, Asava Radaglia to Port, Paddy Dow, and Nick Caulfield at the Saints for 4 years. Ivan Soldo to Port Adelaide. So Port are doing pretty well at the moment. Jack Ginnivan to the Hawks. I mean, yeah, it's a good pickup. I think anyone would take Jack Ginnivan, but it's just good that Collingwood obviously got Schultz instead. It's a good pickup. Jordan Sweet to Port, so another Port Adelaide player going down into that path. The drugged up Elijah Hollins to Carlton. He's been caught doping or somewhere in random thing where he's snorting coke or doing something a little bit left of field and probably something that needs to be discussed more, I guess. Carlton knew he was drugged up before they actually got him, so a bit interesting there. Hopefully he doesn't do drugs in the future so he can actually play the damn game rather than play the game in jail. Tigers get Jacob Kaczynski. Jack Billings to Melbourne, Jack Gunston to the Hawks. I don't like this one. Jack Gunston to the Hawks, I do not like that one. He's as old as the hills. He's about to hit 100, and yet they still get him. They lose Brendan Ryan, who's young. He's the future of the club, and he provides that real feel and positivity within the Hawks team. And then all of a sudden, you get rid of him, and you bring in a bloke that is ancient, is a genuine fossil. And I don't think he should be in the club anymore because he's going to retire soon, and you've lost a bloke that was going to be at the club for so long who can produce better games than Jack Gunston. So I don't like that in a Hawks perspective, but they get Marby or Chol. They get Mazzimo D'Ambrosio. So they've got a bit to work with the Hawks. And then Matheson delisted from the Lions. Aidan Bonner, Kane Turner, and Jack Marnie delisted from North. So there could be a few players there that teams could pick up in the future, and hopefully we can see a few good games and clubs that do pick them up, and hopefully see them be successful in the future. So they're the things I've discussed. I'm going to quickly give Will a hoy, and I'll see hopefully his thoughts and opinions on it. I'll quickly get him up here. Hopefully he does pick up. It's just over phone quickly, and here he is now. Will Morris, I should say, actually. Will Morris, mate, how are you? I actually can't hear you, mate. Yeah, let's do it again, shall we? Let's do it again. Will Morris, I should say. Will Morris, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. You are a Don supporter, as we know. You've been through hell and back in the past few years. You haven't won a final for 10 or however long, a bloody generations. How does it feel to not actually win a final for so long?
Well, I haven't been alive to experience an Essendon final, so I can't really compare it. So
yeah, it must feel before I guess before I go down that hell track. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it must be pretty depressing not to witness a team that you support and are so dedicated to not actually even come close to winning a final.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong, but
you'll get there. You'll get there. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the trades that Essendon have picked up, and it's been pretty damn good what you've been able to produce. I guess before I ask you something, So overall, what would you, I guess, give the Dons their rating out throughout the trade period? Out of A, B, C, or D, because they've been pretty damn good.
Just A. It's got to go straight to an A.
Yep.
We picked up a lot of good players without giving away much, to be honest. So
yeah,
I'm very happy with how we ended up.
That's good because, I mean, some of your big picks, Mackay, Goldstein, Xavier Dersma was a big one as well. They've got a lot of good players to fill in the roles that they've missed, but what do you think Essendon are missing currently, and what do you think, I guess, they need to improve on?
So I made a couple of notes here. So obviously, yeah, we picked up those four, and I believe, while getting rid of Brendan Zerk-Thatcher and D'Ambrosio. So I reckon Mackay will do well as probably playing off of half back, I would say.
You reckon? Yeah, okay.
Helps replace BZT and a bit of Phillips. Like
Yeah.
Phillips who retired.
Yeah, I understand
when
that.
he was playing as the second ruckman, he would sometimes drop to the defence. And then, Dersma, I'm so looking forward to this Dersma plus Martin win combination.
Yeah, they'd link up.
Martin, is it Dersma? Yeah.
They'd link up pretty damn well, I reckon.
Yes. Yep.
Also,
I
so
agree very much so.
no, it's been pretty good, and I guess you've brought in some young players like Dersma and some old players as well. So I guess the age, in my opinion, that they've varied with the players that come in has been pretty damn good as well, because the experienced can also coach the unexperienced too. So no, it's been
gold standing that.
Yeah, that's right. And so what do you reckon? Do you reckon there'll be a chance to make finals in 2024? I think they'll give it a red hot crack, I reckon.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I reckon we'll be, because obviously this year we finished 12th or 11th?
Yeah, roughly around that.
Somewhere in that lower middle section. But I reckon probably to make finals, we need to get a big, strong defender.
Yeah.
To go in there. So that's probably where we need to look for our pick number 9 in our first few picks of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
So picking up someone like that that can work as a key defender, and then probably later in the draft picking up a small forward, I would say, to replace Tipper.
Yep.
But then apart from that, I would say we've got all of the key aspects of a top 8 team.
Yeah, well, so in your opinion, do you think the defence is sort of the main issue Essendon are dealing with? I mean, they did get Mackay for a reason, but do you think there's still a few weaknesses within that area?
I do, especially losing Brandon Zerk-Thatcher, who is a key defender and did really well last year, breakout year sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's not a huge amount of key defender depth at Essendon at the moment. So that's what I would like to see Essendon pick up over the draft, is a good key defender who we can build probably over the next 2 or 3 years to sort of just boost our defence. Yeah,
absolutely. And I feel like most of the other aspects within the club is actually picture perfect. I mean, you got Merritt, Parrish, and then you'll have Goldstein in the ruck as well. And so your midfield's absolutely set in my eyes, and I think doesn't matter who you ask, they'll say the same thing. But then the forwards is also pretty good. You got 2 metre Peter. And yeah, I feel like I agree with you when you talk about your defence is the main issue. And I absolutely, I agree with you more than ever, mate. So it's been good chatting with you. Thanks you. I know you don't have a lot of time, brief chat, but I appreciate you coming on. Yeah, any last messages before you leave?
Go the Dons, of course.
Yeah, got to go there. Nah, fair enough. Thanks, mate. Have a good night. So, yeah, well, we heard it from the big man, the bloke that's been supporting Essendon for his whole life and hasn't experienced anything positive from it. But that may change through Brad Scott and his men, just shifting a few things within the draft and the team, and hopefully from then on we'll produce something special. They've, in my opinion, and Will's opinion, obviously, they've got everything they need to make finals, and it's just about utilising that appropriately and finding a way to really ensure they can have a chance at holding the cup at the end of September. So Essendon, at the end of the day, they've done bloody well. And in my opinion, I feel like Port Adelaide, Sydney and Essendon successfully, they owned the trade period. They've built a nice foundation to build on through pre-season. And it'll set them up perfectly come 2024. So those are the 3 clubs that's really, I feel like, outraced the rest, outshine the rest, and hopefully they'll, and not just them, but other clubs also will be quite successful in the year to come. So you've heard it from the man, you've heard it from me. What's your opinions on the trade period? Would love to hear it. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the 11th episode of the Sporting Fix, wherever you are at the moment. I hope you've had a great day, and I hope you tune into the sport within the week to come, and I'll see you next week for all the updates and all the news around sport.